What is going on, everybody? Vlad with the Plotting Success Podcast. If you've been listening, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you guys give us a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you guys are listening. And this one is going to be good. This guy is an absolute killer here in Vegas. He's 31 years old. He's relatively young, but last year his team did over 150 residential listings and buyers, residential transactions. He flips over 30 homes a year, 30 to 40. He has a rental portfolio. Just an absolute killer. With that being said, welcome on, Juan Lopez.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Super excited to have you on. Like I said, you're a killer. You do a ton of transactions. Your team is dialed. You guys do very well with like the Hispanic community. Like a lot of your buyers, do a lot of stuff with us, and so we'll kind of get into all of that. But give us a quick rundown. I mean, what got you into real estate? How long have you been doing it, and how did you stumble into it?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm 10 years in real estate as a licensed real estate agent, investing about 6 years. So I've been doing fix and flips for about 6 years. What got me into it was, number one, I read a book when I was 17, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And in that book, and it's kind of like a crazy story. Like, there's no coincidences in life. I always say that to my team and everybody. Like, everything that happens is for a reason. And my mom, she's a huge yard seller, and she would just buy random stuff at yard sales all the time. But she bought the book in English. She doesn't even read English, but she bought it in English, and it was sitting in our house in one of our bookshelves. And I just kind of saw it. I'm like, man, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, what is that about? I didn't know about Robert P. Kiyosaki, nothing like that. And then I picked it up, and as soon as I started reading it, I could not stop reading it. It was so interesting to me because it literally talks about what the wealthy do and what the average, person does, and why people are wealthy versus why people, tend to not have wealth. And then when I read the book, it talked a lot about real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, just investing in general. So it kind of planted the seed on just in general real estate and investing. So I knew early on investing was the key to be wealthy. And, I didn't come from wealth. My family just, I'm first generation here, and my mom and my dad came here, as immigrants, and, they did their best, and they did everything they could to give us a good life. But financial education wasn't really something that we got. So I was able to get that through books, and now I like to do the same thing and pass it on to whoever, I come across, and I just tell them hey, you got to read this book. This other book is really good. If you're looking to, get forward, move forward in life and invest and do this, read these books. And I just always recommend the same ones. But that's what got me started in real estate. And then that was when I was 17. I didn't actually get my license till I started when I was 20, and right when I was 21, I got my license. So
nice.
It was the start by reading that book.
Nice. That's amazing. Yeah, I think reading books, people there's a lot of mentorship within those books. 100%. You really don't think about it, but a lot of the stuff that was the craziest thing to me is Think and Grow Rich. I read that book as well. I'm sure you read that book as well, but that book was written so long ago,
forever.
But it's still applicable today. A lot of the stuff, there's many things that change, but the core principles, if you follow them, you could still be super successful. When you got into real estate, did you join a team, or did you just kind of go off on your own? What was how did you stumble into the real estate once you got your license?
Again, it was just divine timing, because I literally was going to sign up for a certain brokerage. And then as I was driving to GLVAR used to be on Sahara. And then as I was driving to that brokerage, I saw a sign, and it said Century 21. And then I was like, what? I didn't really interview many brokers. That's That's one thing that people don't know is you have to interview to see who, has
the best fit. Yeah,
your best fit, or who has what you're looking for. And then I just literally drove in. I'm like, what? Let me just drive in. As I was going to go sign up already for a different brokerage, they took me as a walk-in, and then I was like, dude, this is the one. This is where I got to go. And that's where they really instilled the prospecting, the cold calling and all that into me. And so that's kind of what happened as far as why I signed up there. Then I got a mentor, Juan Martinez. He actually helped me with Mike Ferry coaching, and just in general how to be able to, get business from clients, and just making sure you go look for it and not just wait around for business, So the sales started there, and then from there I moved on to Keller Williams, which is more like team building, systems, SOPs and stuff like that have to do more with like being a business owner versus just like a highly paid salesperson. And so I did transition there, learned stuff there, and then now, I have my team. It's a team of 8 of us that we do about 160 traditional sales. And what I look for is just people that want to grow their business like I did, with the principles that I did, which is just like, hard work, showing up every day, having a routine, making sure that every single day, like, you're looking for business and not just kicking back, because it's like, it's a dog-eat-dog type of world in real estate. So if you're not out there looking for business, unfortunately, most times it's not going to come to you.
100%. 100%. I think that's where a lot of realtors go wrong. I think there's 2 areas that realtors go wrong. It's one, they don't go prospect for business. They're just like, oh, I'm like a sphere realtor. I just do my own business in like my sphere, but like, that usually doesn't bode well for, production. And then 2, they don't invest. So I think you do well with both of those things. A lot of realtors, they will transact a lot. They never hold anything. They never flip anything. They never keep anything. So I think those 2 are huge areas of improvement for a lot of realtors for sure. Did you always kind of envision having a team as you kind of started in real estate, or did you just over time kind of stumble into it where you were like, okay, I think I should probably bring some people on? Or did it come out of a necessity of like, I don't have enough time to handle all of these clients?
Yeah, it definitely came out of more of a necessity, and then also being exposed to other people doing, bigger numbers than what I was. I was like, I've always been like of the mentality where I don't feel like anybody is better than anybody else. It's just they know something that you don't know. You know what I mean? Because we all have the same opportunities, but it's just like they probably know something that I don't know. So I'm just like looking at all the people that are doing 100, 150 transactions, 200, 300, and most of them, 99.9% of them they built a team. They built a team to be able to do those kind of numbers. So then that automatically I was like, that's what I have to do, right? And then it was a seed that was planted. But when I was doing traditional real estate, my first year I did 22 transactions by myself. Second year I did 44 with an assistant transactions, and then the third year I did 56 with an assistant, and I was like cooked. I was like,
oh yeah,
I was like, man, I was working 7 days a week, making great money, but I didn't have a life, and so it's just not sustainable to be able to do everything on your own. I think you definitely have to have a team, whether it's an admin team, you and a showing agent or somebody that helps you with those buyers to be able to show. Otherwise, you're going to burn out. And that's what happened with me. I burnt out year 3 doing 56. And then from there, I was just like, there has to be like a different way. Otherwise, I don't think I can do this for 3 to 5 years. I'm going to hate it.
Yeah.
Because it's just like too much. You're working, you're always thinking about the next thing, this client, this, this thing comes up. And for me, when I joined KW, they were pretty much like, this is the team concept. You get to have these procedures in place, and I didn't have any of that. So when I went there is when I grew my team, and naturally the transactions went up to like 75, then 90, and then finally hit 100. And then from there, the rest is history. I've been increasing business for the most every single year pretty much since I've been in business. And it's all thanks to like helping other people too, like training them, developing them. They help me with some of my clients as well. And then from there, like eventually if they keep on doing, what we teach, they end up also, generating, their own business, and the whole team wins.
Right.
So I really enjoy the team model. I think it's more fun because when I was doing real estate just by myself, it could get a little like boring, like you're there, you're calling by yourself, you're getting all the no's on your own, and it's just easier to just be like, oh, I'm gonna go do this other thing.
Yeah.
But when other people, it's like common goal, everybody's trying to do the same thing, and it's a lot more fun,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think team culture is like kind of what drives a lot of business, because a lot of the times the people that you don't see as successful, like you said, it's because they're solo. So it's like nobody's really relying on you. So it's like if you want to just go coast for a couple weeks, you can, and nobody's going to tell you no. But when you have that team concept in place, it's like you don't really want to let them down. That's the biggest thing. So it's like you're like, I could coast, but then what kind of example does that set for everybody else? That means they're going to be like, what is he doing? Why, I'm going to go coast too.
If you're the leader and you're not leading by example, I feel like a lot of people will slowly leave, because it's like there has to be a leader that sees, everybody, helps everybody, and hopefully is leading by example. And it's like, hey, look, this is how I did it. I'm still doing it. These are the deals that we're getting. And I do that every day, like I show up every day, and it holds me accountable. That's why I like it too, because if I was probably just working by myself, I would be cool. Like, oh yeah, I'm doing 80, 90 deals. I'm cool. I don't have to go to work today. But I have other people that I have to show up for every day, and we train every morning. So it's like, it's an accountability thing.
Yeah.
And I think, for me personally, I feel more productive.
For sure. Would you say, I always like watching your guys' stuff. I see you guys are always doing role playing, a bunch of different stuff. You say you guys do that every day for the most part?
Yeah, every day at
every
8:30.
single day. Okay, got it. Would you say that's kind of like your guys' secret sauce for what's been, made you successful and makes your team successful, is just the fact that you guys just consistently try to like improve and train and, in different ways? Because I think a lot of people don't do that. That's the thing. It's like they'll do that, or they'll do that very rarely, but like to do that every day, that's like very repetitive, but obviously there's results behind it.
100%. Like if you don't know what to say in situations with clients, you lose the deal. So you could prospect as much as you want. If you don't know how to overcome situations, you're going to eventually lose out on enough opportunities to where you're going to say, this doesn't work. I'm going to stop doing it. But really, it's not that it doesn't work. It's just you're missing out on a lot of opportunities because you don't know how to handle situations, right? So training and communication is number one as an agent, because if you don't know how to communicate well to the client or sell yourself as to why they should hire you, most common objections, like if you don't know how to do that, a lot of agents struggle. And so I personally feel like that's the key to be able to be successful in real estate, is knowing how to overcome objections, knowing how to communicate. Because real estate is 90% communication. Like even in investing too, like if you're not good at communicating with sellers or, potential buyers, like you're not going to do the amount of business that you could have, right? Because of the way that you communicate with people. So I always say that's number one. And then number two is doing a consistent, schedule is what, because right now, like we don't technically have to go into the office, and that's what most people do, right? They go in whenever they have a client, whenever they get a call, and it's just like, you need to have daily habits and consistent habits to be able to have like a duplicatable business where you're going to get this many transactions done by making this amount of calls, by coming in this many times. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
I go in 5 days a week, and then you can eventually build a business where you don't have to work weekends if you don't want to. You can have a system to where you can, have somebody help you if needed, or you work listings. Listings, give you more leverage. And then you can have a little bit more time off because you don't have to be at each appointment. And that's what I kind of tell everybody on my team is just, eventually, you want to transition from just working buyers to start, working listings. So that way you can have a little bit more time. And honestly, you could do 15 listings a lot easier than you can do. You can't even do 15 buyers.
Yeah.
You can't. Like, I think most people cap out at about 8 buyers a month.
Really?
Yeah, because it just takes a lot of time.
It does, yeah. A lot of showings.
A lot of showings, and then you gotta meet, you gotta go drive, you gotta do this, that. If they don't see what they like, some buyers, like, they could take 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. Where a listing, when the market's a little better, you can sell a listing within a month and then close within 2 to 4 weeks.
What would you say is your guys' breakdown of like listings versus buyers that your team works with?
Right now, we're pretty even.
Pretty even.
Yeah, we're pretty even. So about 50-50. When I first started, I did all buyers. Mm-hmm. Like out of 55 transactions, there were like 52 of them were all buyers.
And how do you, because for me, I come from just the straight up, just the investment side. So that's like, hey, we want to buy your house. But how do you prospect for buyers, especially like starting out? How are you prospecting when you first like got into the business for buyers? I'm very not in the loop.
So it's just calling your sphere, calling people that you know, and offering something of value, right? So when I first started, it was like, hey, there's 0 down payment going on. If you know of anyone that's maybe thinking about buying, we can get you in with $2,000 out of pocket. And then people will be like, really? Like, I didn't know that. And then, so you offer something of value. Now social media is powerful. So you could probably do the same thing, doing videos. You know, we do content. It's not my primary source of business, but it does bring in business, you know? So that's why I'm always trying to post about things I'm doing in my day to day, or like any situation that comes up. I'll try to do a video on it.
Yeah, because it makes somebody else interested. They're like, oh, he does that? Like, okay, let's talk about it. And then it opens up the door for
it's very likely that that person that you talk to is not the only one thinking or having the same questions. So then I just get into the habit. If I have a situation, let me do a quick video on it or a story or something. And then that brings in clients all the time as well. But just calling your sphere, you know, like being good. A lot of people are shy or embarrassed to call people because they think, oh, I don't want to beg for business. Like, what if they think that I'm not doing good? What if they start, the subconscious thoughts, the negativity starts telling you why you shouldn't do it. It's all in your head. Like, people don't ever even think that. But a lot of people automatically assume that they're not going to get no business. And literally, like, I'll take out my phone and then I'll be talking to my team. And then I'm like, look, it's not that hard. And then I literally do it. And like today, I was literally doing it in front of one of my team members. And I'm like, look, I haven't talked to this guy in about 8 years. I helped him sell a couple houses. Let's call him. I called him. Boom. We started talking. And then out of nowhere, he's just like, he tells me, he's like, no, I don't even rent my properties. I just let them sit vacant because he owns like 28 of them. He's like, I just let them sit vacant. And then I'm like, oh, really? Why is that? He's like, that's too many headaches, man. Dealing with all the tenants, the repairs. He's like, I'd rather just let them sit vacant. I don't have to deal with the repairs. And then I can just, build equity. I make more money that way. And I was like, well, I'm like, have you considered doing maybe lease options or owner financing? That way you can make more money. You don't have to deal with the repairs. And you still get revenue from the properties instead of letting them sit vacant. And then boom, I set an appointment for tomorrow at 10.
Boom. Just
right?
like that.
But it's just by calling him,
right?
Hearing what his situation was,
offering a solution to the problem.
Offered a solution to his problem. Maybe he takes me up on it, maybe he doesn't, but I don't see why he should have them sitting vacant just because of the repairs. You don't want to deal with repairs, then owner finance them or lease option them where they have to do all the repairs.
Right. There's so many different ways to, to add value. And like you could have said, oh, why are they sitting vacant? Let's just sell them, but see, that's another thing with being like a realtor. A lot of people, there's multiple different ways. And so as you start getting into the business, like open your eyes to the investing side. Like about lease options and seller financing and subject to because of the investing side. So if you're a realtor, if you're an investor, get educated on that side, because then you're doing your clients a disservice by not offering all types of solutions to whatever problem they may face. Right.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I train my team on too. Is like, man, don't just be a buyer's agent or a listing agent. Like find deals. Trust me, like we work a lot as a team too. We have like a group chat. It's like, hey, I found this deal. Does anybody have an investor? And a lot of times we'll just get the investor from somebody else on the team. I have the property. Let's split it. Rather than making nothing, like let's split it. And whatever it is, if it's a 10K, assignment, we split it half and half. Or if it's 5K, 2,500, who cares? But the point is we're doing transactions. We're helping people. We're making money, and then we keep it moving, and we continue to do more business.
Yeah, absolutely. We've done multiple deals just like that. I mean, you guys are like, oh, I've got a guy for that. I'm not going to buy it, but I've got, this guy. And I'm always like very impressed with the way you guys do it for sure. Your team does 150 deals plus a year. What does your guys' marketing cadence look like, or your prospecting cadence, to put yourselves in that kind of position? I guess what standards do you kind of hold them accountable to, or is there really like not really a standard per se? They're just kind of on their own. I guess how does that typically work?
I expect everybody, if you're plugging into what we're doing, you should be doing at the very least 15 transactions a year. So that is the standard as far as transactions. And then I do expect, everybody to show up as much as they can. Like some people, I get it, they have a life, they have kids, they have things going on. You can't make it every day, but especially in the beginning, like if you're new, you should try to be at every single training in the morning, because the fact that you don't show up to training and then you're not doing business is like, come on.
Yeah.
Like what's going on? Like this is not more than likely going to work out, not only for the team, but in general. Like if you don't at least try to, get better and learn conversations, try to reach out to people. Unfortunately, after a year of not getting much business, most people end up quitting, right? So
right.
I try to have everybody come in and just be on the same schedule. Not everybody does come in, but as long as you're producing and you're doing transactions and you're at least making the effort, then I think, we continue to work together.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's kind of the most important thing in the beginning. I think that for those first couple of years, I always tell everybody, like, everybody wants to make money. We all want to make money, but don't worry about how much money you're making the first few years. Worry about like how much am I learning and moving the needle every single day. And the people that do that, they tend to be pretty successful down the line. Yeah. And the people that are like, oh, well, I did this, but I didn't get paid for it. It's like they usually probably don't do well. You have to do stuff with no expectation of getting stuff in return, and then over time, you end up getting way more in return than you could have imagined.
The experience is invaluable, because if you don't learn how to do that thing that they teach you, like that may cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, in future business over your career. So it's just like, man, like stop thinking about, oh, I'm giving up this percentage. Like, man, but what are you going to learn from it? Like, if you could learn a new skill that can help you make way more than that, like just focus on what you can learn from the place rather than splits. Like I always tell everybody, like, especially as a brand new agent, the worst thing you can do is try to just go to a broker just because, like, oh, I get 100%, but it's just like you're not learning anything. You're not necessarily like getting any value. Like, leave that for somebody who's like a very seasoned agent and doesn't necessarily like want to grow a business anymore. They just want to work the referrals. Yeah, by all means, like just go 100%. But being brand new, like, it's one of the worst things you can do, because if you don't have a mentor or somebody like really giving you the principles on how to build the business, then that's scary.
No, 100%. Yeah, I think you make a great point. I think a lot of people are just very short-sighted. They're just like thinking about them now, but it's like, think of it. Everything I think about is long-term, and that's the same concept goes for like screwing people as well. Like if you're ever like, oh well, I could do this and like I'll make this much more. Yeah. It's like, yeah, but losing that relationship costs you 10x fold. So it's like you'd rather just always do the right thing. You'd rather just continue to learn and not worry about other people.
That's what I actually like. Number one thing is I want to try to always preserve my reputation, especially like real estate, because you come across the same agents all the time, right? Like you come across the same investors. And one of the things that really helped me a lot with the investing side is, even if I had to come up with more money, whatever I had to do, I would close on the deal. You know what I mean? Like I would never back out last minute, try to renegotiate, none of that. Like if I already committed to something, then I buy it. And so like the people that do work with me, it's like I'm always their number one or number two, because I've never done no like shady things or like go behind people's back, nothing like that. Because I feel like your reputation is number one, especially more so in the investing. Like you can make money by working with other investors, with realtors. Like hanging out with other realtors, you're not gonna really like make money together. They usually see you as competition on the realtor side. Yeah,
because you're going after the same listing.
You're going after the same listing or maybe the same buyer. Like they don't want to teach you, and the realtor side, they don't want to teach you what they're doing because they're like seeing you as competition. Where like on the investing side, you actually want to collaborate with more people because you guys can make a lot more money together, whether it's selling a deal to each other or like maybe like, hey, I've never done this kind of deal, or how do you structure it? What should we do? Oh, do innovation or do whatever it is, right? Like you're always able to like collaborate a little bit more on the investing side.
Because there are a lot more ways to like chop it up and make it work too. You know, usually for the most part, the average agent is like, oh, you're not going to be like, oh, well, I need help with this listing. Like everybody can do a listing, but like like you said, it's like, hey, this particular deal, I've never done luxury. Like I've done it before. Where it's like, hey, I've never done this like $1.5 million price point. It's like, oh, well, I've done it. Let's partner up. Cool, partner up. Boom. Exactly. Everybody makes money. Everybody's happy, and then one party gets the experience as well along with it, and then the other party gets the deal. So there's always an exchange of value on the investment side.
As
100%.
long as it's a win-win, like everybody's happy, just keep it moving, and you learn something and continue to do more business.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that I'm pretty impressed with you guys are always working with a lot of like Hispanic buyers. You guys always have a lot of Hispanic buyers. A lot of them don't even speak English sometimes. Like they've come out to the properties and stuff like that. Me and Juan have done quite a few deals together, but there's a lot of Hispanic speaking realtors out there, but not all of them can tap into that. So I guess kind of how have you been successful working with the Hispanic market and, essentially winning over a lot of those clients, versus that average realtor that maybe they speak Spanish, but that doesn't give them any upside advantage to,
I feel like it has more to do with you being able to show them that this is how it's done. These are the numbers, very clear, right? You have to be very good at running numbers on deals and then showing them this is how I do it. This is how I work my numbers. It's very, very hard to lose money unless you mess up your numbers. Don't overestimate your ARV. Make sure that you're as accurate as possible with the rehab. These are the formulas that I use. I even offer some of my contractors, especially when they're clients of mine, because what I want to do is I want to pretty much help other people do what I learned. And then again, it's like you both benefit, right? Because I can help them buy it. I can help them list it. Hopefully we do a lot more together, and
they refer somebody to you.
They refer, like a lot of the stuff that I get now and the investors are because they see me do it. And with like the other agents, I feel like, if they're not even willing to take the chance on themselves, like people are probably looking at that and they're like, well, why aren't they doing it? If it's so good, why aren't they doing it? So it's kind of natural that they're going to go to somebody who's actually doing it and then be able to be like, okay, cool. Like it's not, I feel a little bit more secure because he's doing it too. And it's not just, him telling me to do it.
He's putting his money where his mouth is, at the end of the day. It's like, no, 100%.
So that helps.
Yeah. I think a lot of the times with agents, and we're not bad-mouthing agents. I think agents, you guys can definitely learn a lot from Juan. He's a killer. He does both sides of it, and I think both sides help the other side. Would you agree? Like the agent side ends up feeding the investing machine, and the investing machine helps you get credibility with your retail clients. So I think if you're an agent and you're watching this and you're like, hey, I want to break into the investing side and I want to work with investors, become an investor. Buy that first flip. Do that first, wholesale deal. Learn how an investor runs their numbers. Go into their office. Go into Juan's office. Go into my office and figure out like how can I, actually learn the business to become more credible for my clients. You have a rental portfolio as well. I know we've talked before. You've done the short-term rental stuff. We've done the short-term rental stuff. What does your portfolio kind of look like today? How many rentals do you own? Kind of what does that look?
As of now, it's 13 single-family rentals. Yeah.
Nice. And do you do like any STRs or is everything long-term rental?
Not no more, man. It's bad here in Vegas.
Yeah.
I had 2 arbitrage and then 6 of my personal ones on Airbnb at one point. And then just slowly, whether it's I'm getting, notices from the city, some of them are not performing that well. And I'm just like, I want to get the least amount of headaches now. Like, the ones that I let go of recently, 2 of them, I got a city, violation from code enforcement. So I took them off. And then the other one, I'm like, man, it's only really bringing in like 3,500 gross, after paying utilities, paying cleaning. I'm like, I'm making like $300 more than if I rented it for $2,500 traditionally and no headaches. I'm just going to take it off.
Right.
So for me, I started to take them off. I did that for three years. I had those 8. So it was good. It was good a few years ago. Now I feel like it kind of went down and And even now, like just with tourism in general, I feel like it's even
Yeah,
it's even lower.
I think tourism is definitely down this year. We've got a registered one in Henderson, and I was like, man, just got to get the license. I'll get the license. This is going to be a cash cow, and it honestly has not been.
Yeah, it's low, man.
Like it's
right now.
yeah, it's just not getting a lot of bookings. I think we're like 48% booked. So I was like pretty surprised by that. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe just rent it out long term and call it a day. It's going to be booked 100% every month for a lower price.
If you have it licensed, keep it.
100%.
Keep it as a short term, because eventually I think it'll bounce back. But just right now, it's just low.
No. I think it'll bounce back 100%. But right now, I feel like just overall everything, just the market, just tourism, everything is kind of in wait and see limbo mode. People don't have a lot of cash. They're waiting to see what's happening with interest rates. And I think we're all seeing the same stuff for sure. 100%.
How are you pricing it? Do you do it manually or do you have a site?
We've done both. Honestly, we have priced it manually and then we went to like a Price Labs.
Yeah.
And the Price Labs actually adjusted our numbers down and still didn't get us booked. So it's interesting.
I used to use Price Labs and I thought it was one of the best investments.
Yeah.
Because it was like, it gets to be too much, when you're having to go in there manually and you have multiple listings. And Price Labs was good, like EDC was amazing days because those are like the best days, the peak days when you got like Memorial Day or 4th of July, and it'll automatically, based on everything in the area, it'll increase it to like 800 or 1,000 a night, whatever it is for that holiday.
Because somebody's going to book it no matter what.
But yeah, just put it on Price Labs, because sometimes if other listings go down in price and you don't catch it, you'll see it at the end of the month. You're like, oh damn, I only got booked 30% of the time. Like, but you're busy, like you're not necessarily like spending all your time looking at those listings.
Right.
Or do you have somebody managing them for you?
My girlfriend manages them,
okay.
but she does a pretty good job of it. Just managing all of the pricing and stuff like that. But still, I think the price you miss out on. You might forget that it's EDC weekend, and then it's like you just listed regularly. Somebody's like, "Oh, that's a great deal." They book it, when you could have maximized,
or just
maximize the nightly
do the
rate.
Special offers, for example. Like if you're having an upcoming week or two that's kind of light, do the special offers and then put it like on 15 or 20% off. So that way it comes up at the very top as like, oh, special.
Yeah.
And then that used to work really good. But again, it was time consuming. Like, oh yeah, I got to look through my calendars, and I got busy. And then I just realized that I wasn't as passionate about it as I was before. So I kind of just started to.
Yeah, it's just. I think it's more like with short-term rentals. I think they are like at scale really good if you can build out like a whole business behind it. But the problem in Vegas is a lot of them are like illegal. So it's like it's hard to build out a business behind it if it's so uncertain. If you told me like you can easily go get your license, then it could be probably a little bit better. You could go out and just get a license and then rent them out, and build a whole business around it. But the threat of it being shut down every friggin' week, it's like it's pointless, not worth it.
I have 3 of them that I got that, how they did the lottery. I have 3 of them that I got actual numbers for the lottery. That's been like 2 years. I never heard nothing about them trying to like do the licensing or like the next steps.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So I don't think they want them in Vegas, to be honest.
Yeah, it's politics. Yeah. They don't want it. So it's probably not going to happen. So you're a pretty busy guy. How do you balance? You're a team leader. You're an agent yourself. You have your own clients. You're an investor. What does your typical like day look like for you? Like for somebody that's like, man, I want to do 150 transactions. I want to flip houses. Like what do you do currently with the systems that you've built out?
Yeah, usually. So I wake up. The first thing I do is I usually check my phone. Honestly, I check my phone to see if I have any like missed calls or anything important. Right now I get a ton of messages from like I have a project manager now, but before I would get messages from all these contractors. Like, hey, this I need this, or this, can you come by this property? We need like certain things that always come up. But I would just kind of look at it, and I just kind of start like planning my day, and then answering emails, because I like answering emails when it's just like quiet. Because when I'm in the office already, usually, I either have an agent that needs help, maybe my admin have questions about a file. I get interrupted by maybe like a call or a lead, or I'm like, oh, I got to do my prospecting call. So I usually like to answer my emails like early in the morning. and then just get them done and out the way, because I feel like that's when I'm the most productive, because I don't have as many distractions. So I get the emails done, go to the gym, come back. Then from there, I get ready for role play. So I'm usually in the office by like 8:15, so we can do it's usually 40 minutes, the role play sessions every morning, 8:30 to 9, and then I start just going either any immediate things that need my attention, and then just start doing my lead follow-ups, or, like calling my expireds or whoever I need to call. And then from there, I'm in the office, pretty much from 8:30 to 4 or 5 p.m., depending on my appointments are all in the afternoons. So I still follow the same schedule that I did before, where I try not to schedule any appointments in the mornings, because I want to be in the office, do my calls, do my follow-ups, get my business the attention that it needs. So that way in the afternoons, I do my appointments. So usually I run my appointments from 2 and after, whether it's a wholesale appointment, whether it's like a property that I need to go walk, whether it's, a buyer. I still show buyers too. I still show some buyers. And then also like my listing appointments.
Okay.
So I do all my appointments in the afternoons. I do have a virtual assistant that helps with all the listing coordination. They answer all the agent calls on, like, is this property available? Does it have any offers? Can I schedule a showing? Like, those calls, I don't think an agent should be taking. It's just, there's better uses for your time,
right,
than taking those calls. And then, so he helps with all those, answering all the office calls for scheduling appointments for our listings. And then I have a transaction coordinator. And then I had a third assistant, but right now we're running with those two. And then eventually we'll probably get another one. I want to get like more of like a admin for just like social stuff, social media, flyers for the team, agent, things for the agents and stuff like that. But definitely having a good team, man. 'Cause I would never be able to do it on my own. It's too much.
No, definitely, definitely. Like you said, you did the 50 whatever deals on your own, and you were like burning out already, because it's just so much, because you have to prospect, you have to find the deals, then you have to like get through the process of like buyers, sellers, whatever it is. So it's just always on go. If you don't have somebody to help you out, then it's rough.
Reading a lot of books on business and like systems, stuff like that has helped too, because I feel like a lot of agents, especially when you're solo, you're trying to do everything on your own or yourself, because nobody can do it better than me, and I don't want my client to get called by somebody else, because what if they don't do it right? And it's just like that control that you have is actually keeping you from doing more business. So like I learned that early on, and I'm just like, no, I gotta hire, I gotta train, I gotta make sure I got systems. This person is doing this for the company, and this person's doing this, so I can go out and be in front of people. Like, that's the most important thing for me, is like I gotta be either helping my team or being in front of clients or getting new deals, right? Like, those are the 3 most important things in my day, and making sure that those don't stop, because if those stop, the business over time will eventually slow down and dwindle.
Right. Yeah, it's like you have to focus on the revenue generating activity, stuff that's actually bringing money in the door, and then everything else. I've had to battle it myself as well. It's like, oh, well, they can't do it as good as me, but then it's like, even if they do it as 70% as good as you, that's 100% better than you doing it yourself. That's how I like to think of it. So, no, 100%. You need the right systems, and then you need to let go too. Like the trust factor is huge, because if not, then you're always just going to be like a control freak, and you're just going to be capping yourself and bottlenecking your own business by not doing so. I know you mentioned you flip 30 plus, 40 plus, homes a year. How are you typically sourcing, the deals? Are you just buying them from wholesalers? Are you actively marketing for them yourself? Is it from stuff from your sphere as well? How are you typically doing it?
It's a little bit of everything. I was doing some Google pay-per-click. I bought 2-3 deals from that. That kind of went down recently, but a lot of them are done through like wholesalers, and then I find a couple on MLS here and there, because sometimes when I'm looking, at properties for clients, I'm like, oh, this house looks like it could be good, and then I try to negotiate. I do all the negotiations over the phone. I hate and it's not knocking on anybody's model, but it's just like all those random emailed offers or random like text offers. I feel like I ignore them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of the other agents that have listings ignore them too. So I'm like, if it's not something that I even look at, I don't think it's the best way. There's nothing like picking up the phone and calling the agent and trying to see if it's even something that they would consider. If not, why are you sending a bunch of offers? You know, like a lot of people just send a ton of offers, and it's like, oh, if one out of 100 of them works out, that's a good, like, dude, like that's a lot. That's a lot of extra time and effort. Like, you could take a 2 to 3 minute phone call and see if it's even something that would work out.
Right.
And then you could send something and then let them sit on it. You know, like if it doesn't work out right away, most of the MLS deals, like I usually get them off of follow-ups after like the next 3 to 4 weeks that it doesn't sell. It's like, hey, Juan, are you still interested in buying 123 Main Street? Like, you sent in an offer. I'm like, let me pull it up. Oh yeah, I could still buy it at that price. They're like, okay, my seller's now open to it. So I would get them like that through MLS and then wholesalers. Like I said, I'm newer to Google pay-per-click, but we got a few deals from it. And then after that, it kind of died off. And I'm not doing any mail or anything like that, but those are probably the 3 sources. We were doing pre-foreclosure. A couple of years ago, we were doing pre-foreclosures pretty hard. Lately,
like door knocking and stuff like that.
Door knocking, yeah.
Okay.
Lately, no, we haven't really done it. Been pretty busy, to be honest.
Honestly, yeah. And right now with the pre-foreclosures, a lot of them are like underwater, so it's like there's not a ton of equity.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still do a lot of different stuff with it, like we talked about. You could do sub 2 and a bunch of different stuff. What price points are you typically flipping in right now? Because I know you're kind of all over the board, but is there like a particular buy box for what like areas or anything like that? I know there's a couple areas in town where you like crush it.
Yeah, normally I wouldn't have any criteria. Is like I usually do it based on the property itself. But recently, with the recent changes, I'm not really looking to go into anything over like $1 million, unless it has a very specific criteria.
Yes.
You know, like unique features, right?
Yes.
Like stuff that's the new home builders you're not competing with, right? Like, so homes with pools, half acres, single stories, 3-car garages, RV parking, like things that have unique features. I'll still look at. And then right now, as of like the last 2 months, I'm just gonna stick to things that are ARV under 450.
Yeah, I think for us, we're trying to do this, similar things. I think it's like good areas of town, affordable areas, or if it's higher end, it has to have distinguishing features. Like the ones that I'm doing right now, same. I'm like, it's got to be like on the golf course with a pool. Like no other comp has anything like this when we go on the market, because whoever's looking for this particular product, there's not really a lot of competition. Where you start running into problems is like, I think the 700s price points where you go and there's just a ton of different, active comps. I think that starts becoming a bit of a problem.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. It's like that messy middle. Like I would say probably 600 to like $1 million. If your house is very cookie cutter, I don't care how nice it looks. If there's a lot of other properties that are also on the market or they're newer, you're competing with them. And I noticed a lot of those people are like usually people who are moving up to their second home. So with the rates being high, I feel like a lot of people kind of weren't really doing that like they were before. Right. So there's already less buyers in that price point. So I usually try to stay with things that I try to cater to, like the out-of-state buyers.
Yeah. Where they're coming in and they don't know nothing about Vegas, and they're like, that is good value. That is a good property with really cool features. And I can't believe I'm getting it at that price, especially like California buyers.
Because if you're trying to compete like with a 450, 500K house and you're competing against new builds, like...
It's tough.
They got really good rates. Like if your house doesn't have something that stands out, it's going to be tough because a lot of them are, even us, we do a lot of traditional. We're selling a lot of new construction because it's just like, dude, 4% rates, 3% rates. Right now, Lennar has a 1.75 year one. Like, I'm telling everybody, I'm like, dude, this is a really good option right now. Yeah. Even though I have flips on the market, like it's just the better way to go for certain people, right? That can qualify for something of that price point. But there's just not a lot of inventory under 400. Yeah. Man, if you have a good product under 400, it'll sell.
Yeah.
even in this market.
In due time. No, for sure. Definitely. That's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people are like, oh, well, inventory's way up. And it's really not. It's up higher than before. And, you always see like the headlines and stuff like that. It's like they like the drama. But once you really dive into the numbers, it's like buyer demand is down, which is understandable because interest rates are high. And I think a lot of people were expecting rates to lower by now, but they haven't. Administrations all over the place. They're like not really sure what's going on in the world. They're like, you know what? Maybe I don't have to buy right now. Maybe I'll just chill. So that's kind of been really the biggest issue. That's the trend I'm seeing.
I always like to bring up COVID times when people are like, I'm going to wait for rates to drop because it's just like, man, I was an agent during that time. And I know how difficult it was to be able to get buyers a house because there was 15 offers on one house, and you had to no closing costs. You have to pay above appraisal. Like you really had to have like 50 to 60K to buy a house during that time.
Yeah.
And it's just like right now you can get all closing costs paid for most times. You can get down payment assistance. You're coming in with very little to no money. Like if you don't got money like that, this is the market for you.
Right.
Because you can literally get a house with very little to no money. You have to take advantage. And then when the rates come down, just do a refi.
Yeah.
Lower the rate later. But people that didn't buy when the rates were low think that it's this great thing, but really like it's more difficult for you as a buyer to buy when the rates are lower.
100%. And the thing is, you can either complain the rates are high or you can complain the prices are high. So it's like, it's going to be one of those things like, oh, the prices are high and I can't get, the sellers want too much, or it's like rates are high and, I can get a deal, but my payment's high. So it's like, but I like to say, people say like, marry the house, date the rate, because you're going to buy the house and then you could always just refi later on.
Exactly.
I think we'll probably see a rate correction end of this year, maybe next year. So it's not, you don't have to wait that long. If you're looking to buy, I think right now is the time to buy, like end of this year, 100% without a doubt.
We already saw a little bit of a decrease in rates this last week, which is nice, and then I think it's going to happen again. Probably by the end of the year. Yeah,
they're expecting there to be rate cuts, so I think it's just kind of like already like pricing in the rate cut, right now. We talked about like what kind of key trends, I guess, do you see from like the agent side and the investor side? I guess like the trend that I'm seeing right now is that the new build stuff. Like every agent is saying like, oh, like they have low rates. And I mean, they're not wrong 100% because they do have low rates. But these builders are obviously trying to sell their inventory and they're figuring out ways to keep the price up, but then, be able to pay down a lot of those costs. Are there any other trends, I guess, that you're kind of seeing right now, in the real estate market?
Trends for like agents to get business, or
like trends just
like what's happening?
Yeah, just what's happening, what you're seeing. Like I said, for me, I'm really seeing like kind of a slowdown in really a lot of different price points. Even the stuff that I was like, man, this would always sell. Right now it's kind of sitting a little bit longer. So that, I guess that's a trend. I'm seeing the builder stuff with low rates. That's a trend of sorts.
Yeah.
I guess anything that you guys are like, hey, this is like kind of what we're watching for.
I don't know if this is a trend, but this is something that I tell everybody on my team, or I try to preach even anybody who's like showing my listings. It's like, hey, like I know a lot of times it's because of the payment that people decide that they don't want that particular house, or maybe like they're looking at multiple other ones and they like something better about it. But if I can offer like a 2-1 buy down, it's like, hey, you could probably get it with your lender, but if not, I have this lender that's willing to do this program and I'll pay for it, and it might cost me like 12 grand or 14 grand. And you pay your own closing costs, but you're going to get this way lower rate and your payment's going to be this. And like kind of make offers to those agents that are showing your property. So it's called a reverse offer. So you could, instead of just waiting for people to, hopefully make you an offer, like you make them an offer.
Yeah, I like that actually. We probably need to start doing that because, we always try to reach out. My listing agent will reach out and say, hey, how'd the showing go? Any feedback? But we're never really, I guess we try it. But yeah, I think making a reverse offer of sorts, like here, we did the homework for you. This is where your payment's going to be with the 2-1 buy down with, 2% rate if they're putting down, X amount. Is that kind of what you're doing?
Yeah.
Kind of similar, like almost running the numbers for them?
Yeah, like, hey, we have this lender that can do this. specific program. You know, a lot of people have their own lenders, so they can probably just try to see if that lender will match it. It doesn't matter, right? But if we can help them, because a lot of agents don't know this. You know, like realtors, a lot of agents are not giving their clients all the options. They're just like, oh, here's an FHA, here's a conventional. These are the two programs, but there's 2-1 buy downs. There's, you know, just a regular rate buy down. I personally, if they have the money for their own closing costs, like most people, a lot of people get off the fence when they have a little bit of a better payment and they feel like they got more room to breathe. Because they're like, man, I don't want to commit to that $3,400 payment right now. Like, that's a lot of money. I could be doing this. And they start thinking about that. But it's like that same house. If you can get that same house for $2,800, would that sway your decision? And I was like, oh, 28? I could do 28.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's just like out of nowhere, all of a sudden they're more motivated. But it's just a lot of times buyers don't tell you everything that they're thinking. And if you're a good agent, you're like asking questions a lot of times to try to get everything that you can out of, you know, the client, as far as like what they're looking for, what their comfort zone is as far as payments, like all that you should be getting as an agent. But if you're not, they're just going to continue to tell you, you know, we just want to keep looking.
Yeah.
Or they're going to continue.
Oh, that's not the one.
Yeah, they're just going to continue like, we just want to, we weren't too crazy about it. A lot of times they would have bought the house. They're just not crazy about the payment. So ask them, you know, hey, does it have anything to do with the payment? What if we can get you a lower payment on the same house using this program? Would it help you at all? Like, oh, we could do that? Yeah, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, if the payment's $2,500 instead of $3,000, yeah, we like it. I mean, we can, because a lot of people, they don't want to do the work on the house. Let's say if it's not remodeled, like our houses that we usually list. Like, if it's not fully redone, they don't want to have a higher payment and still have to invest 10, 15, 20K into a house. Like, that's why we have an advantage right now. Like, our houses tend to sell quicker. A lot of the homeowners that didn't do any repairs, those are the houses that you see the stories about, right? Like, homes are sitting 5 months, 6 months. It's like, yeah, it's an original home.
Yeah, and they want top dollar.
And like, they want top dollar. Yeah, like
price.
There's properties like ours that go on the market. Yeah, we're asking top dollar, but buyers are looking at our houses and those original homes. Like, you cannot, in this market, you cannot try to ask for top dollar if your house is original or needs work. Like, price it accordingly and it'll sell.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. I think right now, like, you don't really think about it, but yeah, the prices are still high, rates are high, and if your house is not remodeled, then it's like, and I have to put money into it. Like, I hate the carpet, I hate the cabinets. It's like, yikes. Yeah,
right
this
now,
house not getting chosen.
If you're an agent and you're just taking the listing, like right now, a lot of agents should be turning away listings that you know is not going to sell. Like, you're just doing yourself a disservice and the seller a disservice by lying to them and just being like, yeah, we can try it. Like, I'm very transparent and I'm honest when I go to meet people. And I'm like, look, there's 4 other houses fully redone for the same price. I really do not think at this price it's going to sell. You know? And it's like, if they're not at least, you know, open to our advice, sometimes it's like, you know what, I don't think this is going to work out anyways. Maybe it's best that we don't list it and then have it sit. Because, again, I don't want that reputation, you know, like having a listing there for 5, 6, 7 months. I try to avoid that as much as I can because it's just not good business. Yeah. You know?
It's like, oh, you told me you could sell the house. It's like,
exactly. Well, yeah. You told me this is the price, or you told me that you'd get it sold within 30 days. And here we are 5 months later. Like, I'd rather be honest and upfront than have that later.
Yeah, absolutely. You're obviously, like I said, you know, we talked about it. You're pretty busy. You have the agent side. You know, you run the team. You are investing. Any kind of, I guess, new ventures or like strategies that you're looking to lean into in, you know, the next like year or two. You know, I don't know if that's more direct to seller marketing or like, have you thought about anything that you guys are working on? You know, getting into development or anything like that. Just interested to see where you're headed.
I think I do want to build out a little bit more direct-to-seller stuff. I've always had that intention the last year, but with everything, you know, busy, business picking up, sometimes I don't have a ton of like that extra time to roll that out. But if anything, I'm honestly, I went from trying to do multiple different things to now I want to do less things and just be really good at, 2, maybe 3 things at most. Because I had the Airbnbs going on, I had the flips going on, I had my team going on, I had my personal transactions going on. And then...
Were you doing any coaching or anything like that?
No, just with my team. I had a couple agents that I coached for a few months that needed my assistance and they offered. So I'm just like, yeah, man, let's do it. But I was going to roll out. I forgot what, it was one more thing I was rolling out. And then it was just like, agent attraction. You know what I mean? Like, because you know how you could, like, being part of EXP or one of these companies, agent attraction was like this other thing. And then I was doing Zoom calls with them once a week and doing all, and then I'm getting these calls from agents and I'm having to explain this and it's just like, it was too many things at once. And I felt like, if anything, it kind of like made my production slow down. So then I was just like, got rid of Airbnbs. I'm like, I'm not going to focus on agent attraction. Like, if they want to work with me, by all means, like, I'm being
join the team.
Yeah, join the team. Like, I'll help you in that way. But me going out of my way to try to attract agents, it's just not my priority anymore.
Yeah.
Or I don't feel like it's the best use of my time at this moment, So,
and I feel like sometimes, a lot of the times when we spread ourselves too thin, it's like you don't know enough about it. So really, the gain you get from it is like so incremental. Whereas what you're good at, if you just double down with that energy into that, like you get way more of a return on, on your time invested because you're actually good at it. So you're way better and more, I guess, better at making money in that particular, sphere. That's how I found it in the past too. I'm like, we should do this. And I'm like, okay, well, this makes this much money. And then I just lost this much money because now I'm focused on that. So it's like,
that's exactly what happened, because I started seeing it and I'm just like looking at the time involved versus the amount of money. I'm like, man, I could go sell a deal and make that in 1 month.
Right.
And I'm making this much in 6 or 12 months. Right. And I'm just like, I felt like I was spreading myself too thin. So what I realized is I just need to hunker down on just 2 to 3 things and just do those at a high level. And right now that's going to be continuing to help my team, my personal transactions, and then flipping.
Nice.
That's the 3 things that I focus on now.
Makes the money.
I'm actually
keeps it moving.
Doing less instead of trying to do more things.
Yeah, going deeper instead of wider.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Cool. And, for somebody that's listening that wants to kind of replicate your level of success, 150 deals a year as an agent, flipping houses, I guess what's a piece of advice you would give to somebody that's, kind of an agent looking to start out and, be an investor, agent, successful in both?
I feel like anybody who's looking to do what I've done or, just, increase transactions is don't focus on building a team until you've actually proven that you know how to do it yourself. Because people can see right through, somebody who's like, I'm building this team and it's just for the sake of numbers, right? Because it's just like, let's all get together. No, because eventually if you don't have no value to give to the team or people, they're going to catch on and they're going to leave. Right. So you have to be able to provide value. And how do you do that is by actually being able to help them with whether it's building their business, prospecting, script training, investing, like things of value, and then focus on that, building yourself up, number 1. And then natural progression would be to build a team. But don't try to build a team just because, you see me build a team or like other people build a team. Like focus on building up the production and then naturally you'll be able to do more production means more money that you can invest that eventually will cause you to, grow naturally. And then you can build a team if you have an excess, of clients and you need to leverage your time more. So I think a lot of people do it backwards. And trying to like build this whole team and do this, like it doesn't work. Over time, like those teams usually dismantle.
Yeah, and it's probably really awkward. Like you're just like, they're like, okay, what do we do? And you're like, I'm not really sure. I'm pretty new too. So
yeah,
no, I 100% agree. I think just like you talked about like you built the team not because you wanted to build a team, you built it because you needed to build a team. Like you were getting so busy with your own stuff that you were getting overwhelmed. You're like, well, I've got all these clients, why don't I just bring somebody on? And that's I think how a lot of great businesses are built. It's like you do it on your own, you like bootstrap it, you spend your money, you invest back into the business, but you're not going and blowing the money that's how a lot of agents are as well, and investors too. But you invest back into the business, you build it up, and then you have to bring people on because you can't handle it all by yourself. So 100%. Cool, man. I thought that was a really, really good interview. I think people will get a ton of value. If you're an agent, make sure you guys reach out to Juan. He's he's a good resource, and if you guys are looking for a team and you're a go-getter, definitely reach out to him. Where can people find you? Are you on social media? Yeah,
so Instagram is _ Juan Lopez, and then Facebook is the same. Just
cool.
Juan Lopez. You can find me there. Those are the only two I'm mostly active in. I have a little bit of TikTok, but not much.
Nice. Know a few TikTok dancers.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I really appreciate having you on. I think you guys do, a really good job. Me and Juan have done, quite a lot of business together in the past. So keep on crushing it, brother. And make sure you guys subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you guys shoot us a like, give us a rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and make sure to stay tuned for next week. Thank you.